How many contracts should you have in your portfolio as a Medicare agent? I think that there's a certain amount that could potentially be too much. There's a certain amount that could potentially be too little. Both sides, both extremes have their positives and negatives. In this video, I'm going to break down for you what I believe is the sweet spot. And I think you're going to want to stick around and check out what I have to say. This video is sponsored by none other than Lead Heroes, you guys. Lead Heroes has got you covered when it comes to telemarketed leads and virtual staffing. On the lead side, whether it be Medicare supplement leads, final expense leads, turning 65 leads, they just got something for everybody. They can also actually have you plug in with one of their virtual staff members on the staffing side to where you can pay by the hour for one of their trained and very well vetted staff members to help you out in your business in a virtual assistant format. Just because you watch this video, they're going to give you 10% off any order you make on their website. Link to the site can be found down in the description, so go ahead and check them out. When it comes to contracts, there's such a thing as having too much and there's such a thing as having too little. Most people have the mentality that they want to represent every single plan that they possibly can in their market, and I'm not here to tell them that that's necessarily not true. However, I do believe that there's such a thing as picking up companies and contracts that are so obscure, that are so non-competitive, non-relevant in your particular field or market, that it just ends up being a waste of time for you to contract for it and to fill out the paperwork for it and to go through the process for it and to keep up your writing number and everything like that. A lot of insurance companies, particularly Medicare supplement companies, ancillary companies, if you don't write any business for them over a certain period of time, it might be a year, it might be 18 months, it might be 2 years, they will terminate your contract with them. So you went through the process of filling out the paperwork, getting contracted with the company, and just to have your contract terminated and pulled in just a matter of a year or two. That's not efficient business in my personal opinion. However, I think the other extreme is when you see people pick up one or two companies and they just don't have a lot to offer to people because they just don't want to go through the process of having the company. So what's the sweet spot? Well, in my personal opinion, this is the way that I would look at it if it was me, and this is actually the way that I do look at it for most individual independent insurance agents, Medicare agents to be specific. Okay, so if you're going to sell Medicare, you're going to have a couple of different categories. So the categories I'm going to break this down into for you guys is Advantage contracts, Medicare supplement contracts, and other. Other is going to be best described as ancillary contracts, life insurance contracts, etc. Now, if your primary focus is that you're selling Medicare products, this is kind of the categories that in my opinion, you're going to want to break this into. Now, this is going to vary depending on your market, right, and where you actually are located at. Now, if you're located in a place like maybe Idaho, right, some of the more rural parts of Idaho are not going to have a lot of Medicare Advantage options. Whereas a place like Los Angeles or a place like Florida or a place like Dallas, Texas, they're going to have a litany of Medicare Advantage options. So this is going to be different for everybody, but in my opinion, I think in your specific market, right, within the surrounding counties of you, I think for Medicare Advantage contracts, eventually, doesn't mean you have to do it right away if you're brand newly licensed. I understand that picking up contracts can be a little bit overwhelming for a lot of agents. And if you're brand new and you're in a market that has a ton of Medicare Advantage carriers, maybe they have 15 carriers in the market, I do believe you should kind of start slow. I think it's a good idea to start with 5 with a long-term goal of having all. Now let me explain what I mean by this. Medicare Advantage plans come with certifications that come with them, right? You have the AHIP certification, of course, but each and every Medicare Advantage company is going to have their own product certification that you're going to have to go through year in and year out. So if let's say you live in a market where there's 15 different Medicare Advantage carrier options, I think you want to pick up, to start off with, to pick up the most competitive, the biggest named 5, right? The best 5 in the market, and whoever you're contracting with should be able to kind of help you through that process, okay? But long term, you probably want to have them all, because in most markets, Medicare Advantage carriers, they're all going to have their specific niche and people that they're going to work with, right? They have their own provider networks, they have their own prescription drug formulary, and so on and so forth, right? This is vitally important that you kind of get this down, but not having a carrier long term could prevent you from making 4 or 5 sales a year if there's 4 or 5 sales a year that fit in the criteria of that carrier that you don't have. I've been through this. There's been a couple of companies over the years that for a while we didn't carry as an office when we were selling locally, and it hurt us for not having it. But if we came in right away and I picked up every carrier, it might have been a little bit overwhelming for me. So work up to having all. Now, Medicare supplement companies, I think, is a different story because the benefits don't vary. What varies is the rates and the rate increases and those kind of things, right? So with Medicare supplement companies, I believe if you're a single agent, you should have the goal of having 5. Now, this is going to vary if you're a big agency, right? If you're a large agency, you have aspirations of being an FMO, you're going to need more contracts than just 5 in the Medicare supplement space, right? We have a lot more than 5, but we're doing a lot more than just selling in our local area, right? We're doing a lot of things outside of just that. So I think having 5 is going to suit you and going to suit you well. You want to have the 5 that have the best track record in your market, that have maybe competitive rates, that have competitive rate increases. All of those things are going to matter, but I do believe if you go out and pick up 20 Medicare supplement contracts, which a lot of times you probably could, you're probably going to end up writing 2 or 3 of them 90% of the time anyway, and it's just not going to serve you all that much to have 8 billion Medicare supplement contracts. Now, when it comes to life insurance, ancillary things like that, I would recommend probably about 5 as well. Okay, 5 go to dental, vision, hearing contracts. I'm not saying 5 of each, but maybe have 1 or 2 that comes with a good dental, vision, hearing product, 1 or 2 that comes with a good hospital indemnity product, 1 or 2 that comes with a good final expense product. And if you actually play your cards right, you can pick up contracts like Mutual of Omaha, Aetna Senior Supplemental that come with all 3 of those products lumped together into one contract. So you can actually contract for those carriers and have all those products in one, right? So with those 2 companies I mentioned, that would take up 2 out of your 5 companies, but they give you final expense, dental, hospital indemnity, med sup. They give you all these kind of things, right? So it's efficiency, but they're also very big names. They're going to be very competitive in a lot of situations, okay? Now, with the life, unless life is going to be a tremendously big focus for you, for me, I'd have 3 to 5 life contracts, okay? That's if you can't get some here, like with an Aetna Senior Supplemental or Mutual of Omaha or something like that. And I believe that's all that you need in your particular market to sell Medicare Advantage. Now, like I said, every market's going to be different. Your market might be different than another market, and you might need more companies than somebody else. Also, if you're trying to grow an agency like an FMO, or you're trying to do those kind of things, it's going to be in your benefit probably to have more contracts because you need more things to offer to agents that maybe they just want to work with you in some kind of capacity. I understand that. Different situations, different strokes for different folks. However, one thing that most people don't understand is probably the biggest 4, maybe 5 insurance companies, specifically in the Medicare Advantage space, but also the Medicare supplement space. They eat up probably about 80% of the business and up nationwide on a routine basis. So there's so often that if you just pick up the biggest insurance companies, the biggest named ones, that's usually going to help you, and you're going to be able to find the companies that are going to be the best in your market anyway, and a majority of your business will probably go to them anyway. So picking up all these small companies, these no-name companies, just ends up being more paperwork for you and less time doing income-producing activities. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I'd love to have a dialogue about it in the comment section. Drop your thoughts in the comments below so we can have a talk about it. Also, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Actually, don't hit it. Smash it while you're at it. So that way more agents just like you who like these kind of videos can find them easier. It helps us out a lot, so I would appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're notified when we upload. And until next time, guys, thanks so much for watching. Here's to your success and your abundance, and I'll see you at the top.